It's gonna feel like you're coming. Welcome to the 4th episode on my fitness channel. Today we're at beautiful Dubai Marina, but we ain't here to do no yachting. We are here to train like the GOAT, the Austrian Oak, the Terminator, the Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You all know him, but I guarantee by the end of this episode you're going to learn something new about Arnie and the way he trained. That's because today we're going to be using his autobiography, The Education of a Bodybuilder, as the framework for this episode. Not only am I going to be eating exactly like Arnie did when he became the world's youngest Mr. Olympia at age 20, but we're also going to be training at Gold's Gym, where I'm going to be attempting a 50 set back and bicep workout. I'm already pumped. You're going to love this episode so much, it's going to feel like you're coming. Trust me, if you don't get that reference, right after this episode, you need to go and watch Pumping Iron. Anyway, for now, sit back, get your protein popcorn out, hit subscribe. This one's going to be a banger. It's going to be epic. Let's go. I can see you. Before he discovered bodybuilding, he was actually an aspiring football player. And for my American viewers, that's a soccer player.
I can see you, I can see you with my closed eyes. I can see you, I can see you, I can see you with my closed eyes. I can see you, I can see you, I can see you with my closed eyes. I can see you, I can see you, I can see you with my closed eyes. Because you're honest.
Welcome to the Arnie kitchen. We're running a little bit behind schedule, but it is breakfast time. We're going to put the macros on the screen for each meal and we'll review tomorrow once I've got through the day. But what I'm very excited about for this one is eating like Arnie. Bear in mind, he was in his peak in the 70s, 80s and so on. And you'll see that the meals are actually pretty simple. So if you ever feel overwhelmed when you look at like modern influencers and modern bodybuilders, you can know that Arnie got to look like this, eating basic whole foods. So for breakfast, we've got 4 beef patties, 3 boiled eggs, and 2 slices of sourdough bread. And we have a simple cup of whole milk. You'll see throughout the day, there's a lot of milk. Now, this is because it's obviously packed with calories, and we're actually doing Arnie's bulking diet. So I'll calculate the calories tomorrow, but we think it's around 4,000 to 4,500 calories today. Obviously, Arnie's a big boy. He's much bigger than me. But I want to just talk about some interesting points that you might not know about Arnie. Firstly, he grew up in a small town in Austria called Thal, and his father was actually a very strict disciplinarian. He was the chief of the police of the local Austrian town, and he was a Nazi sympathizer and actually worked with the Nazis during World War II. Now, Arnie was under this pressure as a child growing up, and he's reported of saying that his father really mistreated him and even abused him at times. And actually, a sad fact that you might not know about Arnie is his dad really distrusted that Arnie was his genuine offspring and actually favoured his other brother, Mannheim. Now, this led to a lot of resentment in Arnie, and actually once Arnie left Austria to go to America at the age of about 21, he never looked back, and he didn't even go to his father's funeral or Mannheim's funeral, although he did stay in a really good relationship with his mother. So this is really interesting. So if you ever feel like you don't have the best look, you don't have the best start in life, remember, neither did Arnie. And when he went to America at the age of 21, he literally had no money, he couldn't speak English, and he still went on to succeed in 3 or 4 different pillars that we're going to talk about during this episode. But for now, I'm going to enjoy this breakfast, and I just want to read a little snippet from Arnie's autobiography before I tuck into this amazing scran. So, this is Arnie talking when he's about 16 or 17. He says, I was bulking up, going after mass, which meant to me around 250 pounds of sheer body weight. At that time, I didn't care about my waist or anything else that would give me a symmetrical look. I just wanted to be gigantic, 250 pound body, and I wanted to handle a lot of weight by blasting my muscles. My mind was into looking huge, into being awesome, into being powerful. I saw it working. My muscles began bursting out all over the place, and I knew I was on my way. Listen to this little bit, which I really liked. Before long, people began looking at me as a special person. Partly this was a result of my own changing attitude about myself. I was growing, I was getting bigger, and I was gaining confidence. I was given consideration I'd never been given before. It was as if I was the son of a millionaire. I'd walk into a room at school and my classmates would even offer me food or ask if they could help me out with my homework. This is the emergence of Arnie, the bodybuilding champion. Bear in mind, by the age of 20, he was Mr. Universe, the youngest Mr. Universe in history. Now, I'm going to get cracking with my food, enjoy this, and we're going to see you at Gold's Gym later on, where we're going to have an Arnie back and chest workout. So we're going to be supersetting every chest exercise with a back exercise. It's an extremely intense workout, which Arnie was famous for. Let's see how I go. We're going to be doing 5 sets on bench, then I'm going to switch over to pull up for my back, and then you're going to see the sequence as we go through it. Cue the montage. Now, if you thought pull-ups were hard, Arnie was famous for this wide grip variation, which looked really nasty. I'm not even sure how many I can do, but let's go guys, let's go. That's actually, I've never done that style before, and yeah, it sucks. Fuck you, Arnie. This movement is an Arnie classic, the pullover, and I haven't done these for probably about 10 years for 2 reasons. One, the setup actually gets pretty hard like once you get a bit heavier, so I'm not going heavy today because I haven't done it for so long. But secondly, he classes this as a chest exercise. Let me know in the comments if you get this in your chest or in your lats. For me, I can just about feel it in my lats, not really in my chest. Maybe it's just my technique's not quite right. Let me know what you do. That's too heavy. Let me try that again. I haven't done that for so long. This is a meat sandwich, a boiled egg, and some delicious whole milk. But before I tuck in, I want to read a little excerpt from Arnie's book. It's only about 20-30 seconds, but he makes some really interesting points, so I want you to stay tuned. This chapter is called Eating for Muscle. He says, every person who takes up bodybuilding should have a basic understanding of nutrition. The very words bodybuilding imply that we're undertaking something constructive. An exercise program is not enough. In order to build muscle, we must have the nutrients that promote growth. And this really sums up why I felt compelled to do a day in the life of Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, training for Mr. Olympia. Because to me, nutrition in the 70s and 80s just seems so much more simple. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you can get your hands on a meat sandwich and a boiled egg, because if you can, with the right mental attitude, a decent training program, and access to nutrition like this, there's no reason why we all can't get better physiques, right? That's what I think. But let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna carry on reading this, tuck into this delicious sando. Before he made his first money in bodybuilding, he actually became a millionaire in construction and bricklaying. Time has come for lunch. Can I just point out, the lighting's good. My wife said I'm actually dressed like a leek. It's a bit upsetting, isn't it? We're gonna put the macros on the screen, and tomorrow I'm gonna give you a bit of a review what I think of Arnie's diet. We've got 2 sandwiches, cheese sandwich, ham sandwich, fruit, and we've got our whole milk, delicious. I thought it'd be really cool to ask some experts in nutrition for their opinion on Arnie's diet. So you've got some really useful takeaways from watching this episode. So afterwards, we're gonna hear from BJJ Black Belt, who happens to have a master's in nutrition. He's gonna give us his insights, and also a physique coach with over 30 years of doing transformations and doing competitive bodybuilding himself. We're gonna hear about what they think about Arnie's diet. But I promised you some fun facts and some interesting facts about Arnie throughout this episode. And this one, it's not so much fun, it's not light-hearted, it's actually quite serious. So some of you know that Arnie had a child with outside of his marriage. He was actually with his cleaner, Mildred. But what's interesting and unique about this situation is he actually managed to keep it secret for over 10 years from his wife. And it was only when Joseph, his son, began to resemble him so much that the secret was too hard to take, his wife actually asked via a counselor, Arnie, are you Joseph's dad? And if we can get the picture of Joseph on the screen now, you'll see it was basically impossible for Arnie to deny for any longer. What a way to get caught out. I'm sure there's many lessons for you there.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm a nutritional therapist with a master's degree in nutrition. Now, looking at this diet, it was clearly very effective for Arnold, considering that he was the best bodybuilder in the world at the time, and some still might consider him to have one of the most aesthetic physiques of all time. And we do know that to achieve this type of physique, that your diet is going to play a huge role, as you need to supply your body with the nutrients needed to build all that muscle. A few things stand out is that it's a lot of food, which is understandable considering his size and his goal to both build and maintain a huge amount of muscle mass. It's also very meat heavy. There's a lot of dairy included, and compared to today's diet, there are very few ultra-processed foods. So he is getting the bulk of his calories from whole foods or minimally processed foods, which is great. But at the same time, those foods are very satiating. So I can imagine for some people, it could be extremely challenging to eat this amount of calories and protein from mainly minimally processed or whole food sources. Now, there doesn't appear to be a huge emphasis on vegetables and fruits, although there are some included. And compared to today's diets, I would expect to see the use of more protein shakes, which, they're not necessarily needed, but they could just make it a little bit easier and more convenient to get in that amount of protein. As well, they could also be an easy way to get in some extra calories. As I said, it can be a challenge to eat that much every single day. Now, I definitely wouldn't recommend this diet to your average gym goer or anyone who isn't training with a specific goal to be that size and that muscular.
Hi, I'm Mark Doherty, a nutritionist. I've been in the fitness industry for 30 years, working with absolutely every type of clientele you can think of. I've actually competed in bodybuilding myself. What I think of Arnold's bulking diet, for me, it's actually not that bad. It's plenty of calories, lots of protein, which is equally distributed throughout the day for muscle protein synthesis and prevent muscle protein breakdown. The only couple of things I would change would be to increase vegetables and fruit, because we need more micronutrients in the diet. Then for a lot of people, if they're looking to gain size, be very careful that you're not in too much of surplus, or you may gain a lot of fat. We know a 5% surplus is just as good as a 15%, but you put on less body fat. Other than that, it's pretty good. Frequency of food, he eats about 6 times a day. I even do so myself, but a lot of my clients only eat probably 4 times a day, some eat 5 times, and preference is key depending on meal frequency. Hope that helps.
Arnold grew up so poor that he had to use the bathwater after his mother, father and brother main heart. Unlike me, I'm going to enjoy a fresh bath. We've got 2 eggs, 2 slices of cheese, bit of a weird meal. And we've got our milk, so we're going to enjoy it. Before I tuck in, I want to read a little snippet from the Arnie book. So, it says, there is nothing as good as bodybuilding to get your body tuned up and totally in shape. It doesn't matter whether you want to run or develop endurance power. The only activity that can build the entire body evenly and uniformly is progressive weight resistance. Bear in mind, Arnie wrote that in an era where previously bodybuilding and weight training had a lot of negative connotations around them. But now we see weight training used across a broad spectrum of sports, and that's because progressive weight training is good for you, good for your bones, good for your physique, good for your mind. It's good in everywhere. So I'm going to tuck into my meal. Ooh, getting kind of sick of the milk now. Ooh, there's a lot of dairy, a lot of dairy. Oh, it's so dry. Maybe mature cheese was a mistake. On to meal 5, feeling pretty good. Just wanted to talk you through what we've got in front of us. We've got 2 of the leftover beef patties from this morning. We've got some prime roast beef that we got from an organic beef supplier here. Tomato, cheese because we didn't have that on a snack earlier, and we've got a humongous jacket potato. So before I tuck into this, I just want to read something else to you which I found quite interesting. So this, bear in mind, was written in probably around the 80s, latest, maybe 70s. Arnie says the highest quality proteins come from animal sources: eggs, fish, poultry, meat and dairy products. Much lower in value are proteins of plant origin: beans, rice, corns, peas and nuts. Generally speaking, the bodybuilder will experience the fastest growth by choosing protein from animal sources. Now, there's lots of different views on that these days, so let me know what you think in the comments. But from what we can see here, we're getting all our protein from animal sources, and I'm looking forward to this scran. On a lighter note, I said that I'd weave some interesting fun facts about Arnie in through the day. I've got a cracker for you now. Did you know the International Astronomical Association named an asteroid after Arnold? Guess what they called it? The Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right team, last meal of the day. I'm absolutely stuffed, but we've got our protein shake with whole milk. I actually used a vegan protein instead of the milk powder that Arnie suggested, but I don't think it makes too much difference in terms of calories. And I got a little ice cream, which is going to be delicious. And we're just going to scoff this down. I'm speaking a bit quiet because my man Milo the Rotty is sleeping soundly. So I'll see you guys in the morning and we'll review the day's training and the day's eating. Guys, we managed to eat and train in a day like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sorry, my dog's a little bit boisterous. And I wanted to, just like in the last videos, give you some feedback and some thoughts and some conclusions. But first of all, on the diet side, what I really liked about Arnie's diet is it, do you really need to eat that? Hang on, 1 second. Stop. Sit, you're on camera. What I really like to... Okay, you can chew it. What I really liked about Arnie's approach to nutrition is it was simple, whole foods, really attainable by everyone who wants to get muscular. So I thought that was really nice. One thing I would change about it though is he was like making beef patties for breakfast. I think that's just like a bit inconvenient. I think something like oats with protein is going to be much easier for most people in the morning. As for the training, we did the back and biceps workout. That was his intermediate 4-day split. To be honest, it's a lot of volume. It's a lot of volume for the mere mortal. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're on a serious amount of gear or you've got the genes that can actually support that amount of volume. Anyway, I think I'll keep it brief for this time because my dog wants to play with the bottle. Tune in for the next one where we're going to be trying out some of Dubai's craziest recovery mechanisms, such as ice baths, hot tubs and infrared saunas. So hit subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.